Okay, guys. Hey, welcome to another edition of Positive Traction with Coach Henry. And today, I call him G-Man. I'll let him do his proper introduction. With that being said, who are you?
Hi, Henry. Thank you for having me. My name is Gil Jack, and I'm a professional poker player. Just playing cards for a living, and that's what I'm doing. And I met Henry a couple years ago, and he's having me on the show, so I thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being on the show. And guys, you're going to be in for a treat because the G-Man here, he's going to be 20 years old in short time. So when this is filmed, he'll already be 20, aired. But I've been playing with him for a couple years, and it's pretty neat to witness his game. I've suffered some of his rise. We've had some good battles.
Yes, we have.
We'll talk about how we met. We'll talk about some of those battles. But first and foremost, you just said it, you're a professional poker player. So let's just get right into it, G-Man. What does that exactly mean? For those that, have this facade of poker, of course, it's a big thing for the last, 3-5 years. It's been a phenomenon. So tell us, what does a professional poker player mean?
Yeah, for sure. So I think at first glance, a lot of people think poker automatically related to the gambling aspect because, you play poker in a casino. So it seems like something that's almost impossible. Same thing, it'd be like, I'm a professional slots player. I'm a roulette player. You're like, that's not real,
right?
Pretty much. But poker is a different game. You're not playing against the casino. You're playing against other players. Yeah. And if you build a skill set, you can win a lot of money over the long term. So it is a game of skill. It doesn't matter who says it isn't, it is.
I'm going to stop you there for a minute because also for those of you who don't know, professional poker is the only thing the IRS identifies as a profession. So it's true. Meaning you are you can get a W-2, you can get a 1099.
Exactly.
You are legit.
Yeah.
You can't say you're a professional blackjack player or craps or anything.
Yeah.
Poker is the only thing of that nature because like you said, it's not gambling. So why don't we start to kind of bring the people that don't know what poker's about.
Sure.
Maybe like you said, skill set. So what does that mean to someone? Let's break it down to 3 top things that you think it means. So that way people can kind of follow along. Then we'll get into some stories.
In terms of being skilled at
poker?
poker?
Yeah, what does that mean? When you say skill, someone goes, well, what does skill mean?
Sure. Well, like I said, you're just playing against other players. It doesn't matter how skilled they are. Like a lot of times in professional sports, you'll be matched up against somebody who's of your skill level. It's not the same in poker at all. Right. I could be sitting at a table with somebody who is miles better than me, or it's their first time playing.
Right.
Pretty much. And there's certain aspects of the game that people haven't figured out or they just don't understand.
Right.
Because, like I said, it's just like me and you playing.
Yeah.
So nobody else is involved. So it's just us. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So let's use to get them warmed up to this and why I wanted you on this show, because the whole premise of the show is positive traction. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's about taking people's lives, help bettering them. So they walk away from here, they're watching us or hearing us, and hopefully they get something from you and us talking there. So it's not necessarily that they want to be a poker player or not. Maybe they do. That's great. Mm-hmm. But it's more how your journey got there, which we'll get to.
Sure.
We're going to save that for later.
Okay.
But let's get to the appetizers. So you and I are playing. Obviously, you know my style is a little bit different. So I don't want to give away your style because some people might listen. So you got to keep your secrets in tight. But let's just use us as a real example. Let's think 2 years ago plus when you're playing against me and now playing against me, especially, differently. What senses would you use or do you use, not giving me insight to you, but things that can people relate? So, because I think a lot of people on this show don't know a whole lot about poker. They know I love it. I'm not a professional. Obviously, you are. So what does that mean to them? So let's just walk them through there's 9 people at the table. The dealer deals it out. You're going against a couple people that you know, a couple people that you've never met. What's something you're willing to share with people?
Sure. I think poker, when you look at it, at first it has this image of being reading people, is he bluffing, is he not? Right. And the physical tell, is he lying, is a huge part of poker. But really, to be very skilled at the game, you have to have a very theoretical and analytical look at the game. Right. There's so many different aspects of the game that come down to percentages and just knowing the optimal strategy.
Yeah.
And then deviating that based on who you're playing. So let's say you're playing someone who isn't playing that strategy, that might not be the best option.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if he's going crazy, then you can't bluff as much.
Right.
That's the simplest way I could put it.
I guess a lot of people know blackjack, so I would say this. Let's say there's certain rules in blackjack that you do. You know, you hit if you have a 13, you hit if you have a 14,
Right.
etc. So, you know, sorry, you don't hit.
There's a way to play by the book.
Correct. And when you're doing things correctly, like if you have a certain hand, then you do certain things. But if you have a crazy person, or we've played against, or complete nit, as we call them in poker, then it's hard because you will get sucked out, as we say. Sometimes you'll get screwed up because they're going completely. It's like the beginner that goes to a blackjack table that I'm sitting here playing strategy. Someone comes up and says, hit me. No, you have 17. I feel a 4 coming. So you have minimal outs and they hit the 4 by chance, but they screwed up for the table.
Right.
So how do you, and you're in pretty high stakes now. Now, guys, you also know he's had to go to Canada. Where else have you had to go to? Because, you know, you were underage for a while.
Yeah. I still got another year, actually.
Before you can be everywhere.
Yes, correct. So I went to Canada quite a bit. I went to Dallas, Texas, and then Florida. So those are pretty much the only 3 spots that I could play
18 and over.
in a casino.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So now think about it, guys. So I want you guys to picture he's 18. He's now going from home games, learning, coming up against some others. And now he's in a full-blown casino playing for some pretty big stakes. So take us through your first experience sitting at a table. Was it Canada, Florida, or Dallas for your first?
Yeah. So the first casino experience, it was the day after I turned 18.
Okay.
So it was like my whole family, we flew out to Dallas, Texas. They have card rooms down there. Obviously, you play in Texas a bit as well. So my very first time in a casino was on a live stream. Too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was nervous.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I played at home and I played online and other people's games, but I was nervous to play at the casino. So I flew in and I went right into the live stream.
Wow.
And the nerves were there for sure. I don't think I did very well either. The very first time, I didn't do very well on the stream, but it was definitely a nervous feeling, but you get used to it, you know?
Yeah, so now you just did a trip to Canada. How long was your days in Canada on this trip, this road trip?
Yeah, so I was gone for 3.5 months.
Okay, so 3.5 months.
Yeah.
So there's 2 parts to this question. One is, how was that overall experience? But you shared a lot, so we'll obviously plug you, and they want to come check out your show and your vlog. But you would say day 45, right? And what was your plug you used?
Yeah, so I was basically taking people. I called it the life of a 19-year-old poker player.
Right.
And I think it really interests people who like want to see what it's like because it's an uncommon thing.
Right.
And people know what poker is, but they don't know people can actually do it professionally.
Right.
Let alone at my age.
Yes.
So that line really drew people in.
Yeah.
I would basically just take you through my day, whether I was playing online, I was playing in the casino, it was my day off. I was just traveling Canada and the U.S. and showing people what it was like. So,
and guys, what I loved about his journey is that he set this tour himself. This is self-funded, self-guided, self-motivated.
Correct.
As a, which that's part of why I wanted him on the show, because this show is about your dreams, your goals, right? So tell me, I don't want to say haters, those that didn't understand your vision, what that felt like and how you responded to that. And then those that were super encouraging and like, you got this. Tell us about both scenarios.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of both of those, especially when you're posting on social media.
Oh, yeah, you're opening yourself up.
Anytime you post, there's going to be haters, there's going to be people cheering you on. Luckily, everybody around me has always showed like the best support. My parents, my brothers, my cousins, you guys, my friends, everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky to have had that support. But when it comes to like haters online, there's a lot of them for sure. But I kind of just... And I've been in like the YouTube space for a while before I even got into poker.
Yeah.
So I've been.
That's why I nicknamed you guys as the YouTubers, you know, because that's. Yeah. And I met you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in the content space a while, and it doesn't matter what you post, you're gonna get haters. So you just kind of have to not let it affect you at all, especially in poker because there's so many swings. Yeah. So when you lose, people will be like, "Oh, you're terrible. Like, don't stop playing. What are you doing? Get a real job." Right. So you just can't really let people affect you.
And again, guys, this is a 19-year-old. He's been at this for a couple of years, which I love. And this is why, to me, it's inspiring. It really is, because you have believed in something. And I know you will share some of the things that you're doing to improve your game. Because, like you said, there is a skill set. And if you do the skill set correctly and use the numbers correctly, the majority of the time you will win. And you got to shake off the losses. And we use the expression not get tilted, right?
Exactly.
It's hard to not get tilted. It's hard to not, we had a funny story that I got tilted not too long ago. I actually stood up and our boy Joey was some words of encouragement to me, which was great. The irony of that, because I'm usually the one, but I just needed a moment because it's usually you're just obviously upset. But okay, so now you did that. So now, what made you feel that you were going to become a professional player? Like, where did that swing happen?
That's a great question, actually, and kind of one that I ask myself sometimes because, like I said, I went to the poker room when I was 18. So at that point, it was like a very real hobby.
Yeah.
At that point, I didn't know that's what I was going to be doing. But then after, I just kind of kept playing and learning and winning and playing, and then it was about 4 months after I turned 18, me and Joey, we took a 3-week trip to Dallas. And I said, yeah, let's go play for 3 weeks, see how it goes, see what it would be like to just play for a living pretty much.
Yeah.
And it went really well. And then after that, I was like, okay, let's give it a shot pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think that was the turning point. It was about a year and a half ago.
That's awesome. And again, since that, so what is a story that you can share? So now we've kind of built the platform. Your attitude towards haters is awesome. I commend you a lot because, like I share people, I have this cool image of a lion and there's a bunch of dogs barking and you got to just focus, right? It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
The normal haters are sitting doing nothing. So it's easy for them to troll.
Exactly.
And you just have to continue on your path. And you've had the opportunity now to play in some pretty good games. You went heads up to what was the most latest that you almost got first.
Yeah, the WSOP ring event in Montreal.
Can you share that with people a little bit about that concept? Because that was a big one for you.
Yeah, for sure. So it was an $1,100 event in Montreal.
So what does that mean to someone who doesn't know what that means?
That's the buy-in to the tournament. So essentially everybody has the same buy-in. They start with the same amount of chips, and whoever, in the simplest form, whoever wins all the chips wins the whole thing.
All right, so now give them a content of how many hours you have to play a day, and like how was this tournament structured? Because sometimes people think, oh, it's fun, but right, remember, people's perception of real poker is different than the reality of how you get out there and grind.
Sure.
So you $1,100 to get into this game, and then for what? How did that look?
Yeah, so I think it was probably around, 300 entries or so, and the first day was about 10 hours of playing.
So 10 hours, you only get a break if you had to go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, so essentially you get a 15-minute break every 2 hours, and you just keep playing the whole day until you reach a certain amount of players left, and then you bag up your chips and come back the next day.
So to give you guys content, think about 10 hours minus hour of breaks or 2 hours of breaks. Either way, 8 to 9 hours of thinking, and every hand. Now, how many hands per hour do you think an average game goes?
How many hands per hour?
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on how many people are at the table.
Right, so let's just a full table.
Let's say, I would say probably 20 to 30 hands an hour, maybe.
All right, so we use the lower number, guys. So 20 hands that you have to stay focused on, especially if you're in that hand. One thing is you fold it right away. You're kind of watching and you're doing research. So you got 300 players in this tournament. This is your first big tournament of this nature, right? $1,100 to buy in.
Correct.
This is one of the bigger ones you've done. Now, fast forward to you hit the final 9.
Final 9. Yeah,
so
I remember that.
So final 9. Here you are going. I'm here. So right away you're already happy.
Yeah.
You're in the money. That means so usually a tournament like that would pay out the top 20.
The tournament, I think it was 36.
36 people.
Yeah.
So that means, guys, if you don't know, that means 36 people are guaranteed something of all that money. And again, all legal, all done right.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this. So when you hit 36, usually you make a little bit of that.
Yeah,
but
usually double the amount of what you bought him for.
So that's nice.
That's a rough.
A little bit, not fully worth your time, but at least you got something for your time.
Yeah, and then the payouts, they really only start going up once you get to the final table.
Yeah. So now you're at the final table. All of a sudden, there's 7 left, 6 left.
Yep.
Now there's 2 of you.
Yeah.
So tell us that feeling.
Yeah.
There's 2 of you. You're 19 years old, Montreal. Tell us through some of the hands real quick.
Sure, yeah. So actually, I'm going to go back to when there was 4 of us. Basically, it was me and 2 other people were tied with a pretty short stack. And then one guy had all the chips. and we were tied. And the pay jumps are very, very relevant at that point. I think it was probably it went from 10,000 to 18,000 to 32 to 48,000.
Oh wow!
At that point,
That's a big difference.
So 4 left, we were playing for
It's 100% difference in each one.
Yeah. So a big difference. So with 4 of us left, obviously the short stacks are trying to let the other people bust out so we can get the pay jump. And the chip leader took out both of the other people back-to-back hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he did the work for you.
Pretty much.
So now it's just you and him. He just upped you quite a bit of money by taking out your competition.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now it's just 2 of you left.
Yeah. I was very, very short. So he had, just reference, he had about 7 million chips. I just had 1 million.
Wow.
Pretty much. And the blinds were high. And there really wasn't anything to talk about heads up. I was just very card dead, which sometimes you can't force anything pretty much. And then, I mean, I was down to my last 2 big blinds and I was forced to go all in with 6 deuce. So, it wasn't the most exciting heads up match, but I was happy to make those 2 pay jumps because we were all tied. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And just so you know, guys, blinds is that in tournaments, there's a certain amount of action that has to be given to keep the game going. Cash game is different because you could sit there all day if you wanted to, but hence it's a cash game. So just to give people some reference, because sometimes people are still like, what's the difference of tournament and a cash game and all that? All right, so that you decided to be a player. Overall, it's been a lucrative career for you so far.
Yeah.
So you've been at it for roughly almost 18 months as a professional player.
Yeah,
give
I
or
would
take.
say, yeah.
18 months. So overall, if you were to rate yourself financially based on time invested, you give yourself a B, a C, an A.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like in poker, at least at first, it's not like there's that much money in it, unless you get to the super, super high stakes and then you can make the millions.
Right.
But I mean, financially, it's like a C, I would say, C or a B. It just depends, really.
Yeah.
There's so many swings, but really my focus hasn't been the money side of it, which I think is important for a lot of people. If I was you, I wouldn't get into poker to make money. I've really been focused on the skill set and meeting people and just building a skill that I could use, obviously, to then make money in the near future, pretty much. Does that make sense?
And no, 100%. I think we're going to get into the 3 things. So I'll give you my 3 things that make up a great poker player. So I'll start with that, and then you can give me your 3.
Sure.
Okay. So I think to make a great poker player is someone that studies the art. Right. So, and there's different parts of that, right? It's not just the analytics of it and the percentage of odds, but it's really you studying the game. How do you read people? How do you misread people? How do you adjust to someone at the table that is completely calling the worst of the worst, that throws off everything you think that you should be doing? So I think reading, understanding and teach and learning more about the craft itself. And that goes to anything in life, right? If you want to become a guitarist, learn how to play the guitar, learn the art. 2, I think it's also reading the room, reading the environment, what kind of games you're playing, what kind of tournament, what kind of people's money. I think that matters a lot, which to me is in life is that environment. So when I look and we go to a game that we're going to play here in the near future, I know the kind of players that are there. You got players that are in the crypto.
Yeah.
You got CEOs. You got
businessmen.
So money, and it's a cash game. So money is a little less relevant for some.
Sure.
But they have plenty of it. So some of us that are on budgets or don't want to just, care a little bit more, you're going to play a little differently than someone that's going to call you with a 4 or 5 offsuit because they feel that was their grandma's favorite number, right? You got people.
Yeah.
So what I love about that personally is I love that because fighting is my background, I had to learn in mixed martial arts to adjust to my opponent.
Yeah.
Right?
That's very, very important.
Very important. So I might have my strategy, as you said earlier, but all of a sudden it's thrown out the window because this guy's calling anything. This guy doesn't play anything unless he has aces or kings, et cetera. But I love that because you have to quickly adjust and make it work for you. Same with martial arts.
Sure.
Right? If you're a boxer, okay, well, I'm going to not come at you and let my ego and go, well, I'm going to box you. No, you're a lot better at that, but I'm better at the all around. So 2nd is the environment, reading the situation. And the 3rd is truly knowing the analytics of the numbers that are in your favor, right? So if you know your hand is 2nd best based on facts and you're reading the situation. I think those are the three elements that make something
Sure.
a player. So what would you agree, disagree, or add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I actually have three things that I would like to say as well, and one of them definitely is pretty much what you said, and that is like the ability to read the room and adapt. I think being able to adapt to your surroundings and players is so extremely important.
Yeah.
Because some people will get caught up in playing this one strategy that doesn't work at this
Yeah.
game. It might
Yeah.
work somewhere else, but it doesn't work here.
That's good.
And
Yeah.
it'll lose you a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you could be adapting and finding the best strategy in game, because everybody's different. That's why poker is great. You're just playing against humans.
Yeah.
So like nobody's gonna play the same.
Yeah.
So you have to adapt, which is very, very important. Like you said, to your surroundings. Like if they have money, if they don't, if they're tight, if they're loose, it just depends.
Yeah, and I love that you said that because, as you know, I get to travel back and forth to Texas, different homes and all that. So I'm around. I'm never really around the same group of players.
Yeah.
a whole lot. So I have to plug that. So continue with the other things.
Yeah. So I would say then number 2 is having a very, very strong mindset and mental game. Just because like this game is brutal. Like it goes up and down and up and down, and people will be, like I said, the haters. People telling you to quit. People telling you to do this. People saying you suck. People saying you're unlucky or
Or you're lucky.
or you're lucky, or you're losing day after day after day. Or if you're winning, it's the same. Either you're on the top or the bottom. You have to be so bulletproof and mentally strong, and that's why a lot of people fail, in my opinion.
That's good. That's good stuff.
And the third thing I think would be money management, which kind of keys into the mental part of things. If you really do want to be a professional, you have to have very good management with your money and your time and your bankroll.
Nice. Well, you're throwing some good wisdom at the ripe age of 19.
Well, also with all the analytics and skills.
Yeah, of
and
course,
stuff.
that's
But
what I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides that, I would say those are the three very, very important things.
Well, when we show the show, and then a couple years when you're huge and playing on some of these circuits, we're going to reference back those tips, right?
Yeah.
Just like Phil Ivey, he got back in recently. I mean, he's been in it, but he was taking a little moment, doing his things,
Sure.
and he just jumped back in like 2 seconds and just won the thing, right?
Yeah, he just won. It's crazy.
How much money did he win?
I have no clue. Probably a couple million.
Yeah,
I
not
would
too bad
assume.
for
Yeah.
a couple days worth of work.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
So, all right. So now let's give some backstory how we got here.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your family, because you guys are not originally from Southern California.
No, yeah.
So where are you all from, and what brought you to Southern California?
Yeah, so we are originally from Littleton, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver.
Okay.
And I lived there until I was about 10 years old. And then we moved out to Los Angeles to pursue acting and music and entertainment, which is kind of how making videos started. It kind of keys into each other.
Yeah.
So we were out here. We've been out here for 9 years now. So half of my life I've been out here.
Yeah.
So we originally came out here to pursue entertainment, and then here I am playing poker. I never would have thought that this is where I would have ended up, but that's pretty much it. We like I said, I used to make content and YouTube videos with my brothers. I've been doing that probably for just as long as I've been out here, probably 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
So when I did find poker, I kind of funneled those two things together. So I haven't really forgotten all the skills that I've learned from the past of being an actor and an entertainer. I just kind of mixed that with cards.
No, I look at. I believe that God always has a plan, and your destiny it fit. I mean, to give you guys a little content, when I met Gil and his family, it was at his home game. We're just having a good time, chilling, and he was at that point streaming on Twitch. So it's pretty cool to have that table, and you can online you can see what our cards were, and you guys are running a whole production. Really, like you said, the entertainment part, and I think now as you're going, I love you sharing 100 days. Was it 100 days?
It was, yeah.
100 days. I mean, I think that's. I love that you're inviting people into your life, and I do give you credit because you're going to have, unfortunately, some more haters, but you can put them aside because there's so many good people that are truly enjoying your journey, and that didn't know all that goes behind. It's like an athlete. I know you love hockey, so there's no professional player that's that great that didn't. Yeah, they might have been born with some talent, but you got to put skill.
You got to put the hard work in.
Got to hard work in, and I love that you're sharing that journey, and and you're being vulnerable. But I think that's great
for sure.
Awesome. So now, give me a goal. Give me a vision. Now you're 18 months into this. You've got to taste some money. You're also getting excited. You're getting better as you go. You're beating some really good players. You're feeling a bit more confident. Where do you see this going for yourself is part one of a two-part question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my brother asked me that question like a week ago.
Which brother?
Gus, my oldest
By the
brother.
way, all the brothers are G's.
Yeah.
Can you name them off real quick for us?
Yeah, so my youngest brother is Gator, and then my two older brothers are Gordy and Gus.
It's the G family, hence the G man.
Yep.
So when I went to the house, and then I got the dad is Shore.
Yep.
So it was awesome. So I love that. So sorry, just give people some content to why our chemistry and enjoy that. So he asked you this question. What's your answer?
Yeah, so like in terms of a goal, it's kind of difficult to like have a set point. Like you could say, you know, play in the World Series or make $1 million. But the thing is like in poker, there's not really an end goal. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my goal is almost on a day-to-day basis to always keep getting better and striving and keep going up in stakes pretty much. Because there really isn't like a limit. So there's not really a point I would like stop and be like, I hit my goal. I'm good.
Right.
You know what I mean? In poker, you keep going and going and going.
So I would think a goal would be, if I helped you with this, not help you, but like add, would be to be able to sustain a good life playing professionally.
Yeah,
right.
That's a great goal for sure.
So let's just, I'm going to just use the number of 100 grand. I'm just going to say like,
Sure.
if you're making 100 grand, which would be the equivalent to being out there and you're like, I'm making that by the age of 21 or 20, whatever it is, like, and I'm sustaining it. I'm good enough. My highs and lows have put me at this average. Let's just start with that.
Sure.
So from that, now you might pick up sponsors or people that believe in you in addition to yourself. You might play in bigger tournaments, right? So the bigger potential rewards.
Sure.
So let's I'm going to speak some greatness into you.
Okay.
So let's get you from 100. Now you're at $250,000. Now you are winning some huge pots. Now you're traveling the world doing what you love, getting better because you're playing better players.
Yeah.
So now what are you going to do with that platform? So just visualize that with me. You're top of your game for this level. You're 23, 24, living the life. It's like a DJ, right? A DJ that's a good one. There's only a small percentage that get to travel the world, do what they love, get paid mad money, and guess what? They don't pay for anything because they're getting sponsored.
Yeah.
It's got, so what do you want to do with that platform? Is there something that resonates in you? You're 24 years old. You got all kinds of people listening to you. What do you want to do with that?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, kind of what I've been doing now is just like, I really want to be real with people and show them what it's really like, because especially in poker, there's a lot of fake people.
Yeah.
People who only show the wins. And because it's hard to post your losses. It's hard to say, hey, I lost 3K today, but I'm a professional. I promise I'm good, but I lost.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fake people. And I think that one of my goals would just to keep it 100% real with people.
Yeah.
And really just like you said, in a couple years, 23, 24, hopefully like there's people that have followed my journey since 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Since I just started. So just to keep going there and, keeping it real with people and just keep moving upward and just trying to be just very like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. And look at it is a mental strength because the losses are tough.
Yeah.
Some are valid. You made bad calls. You read the situation wrong. Some are just bad beats.
Yeah.
Right. It happens.
Yeah.
As we always talk about, the aces get cracked.
That's the other thing with poker is why I have a difficult time making goals financially. And that's what a lot of like people have told me, like, don't make goals for things you can't necessarily control. So you could be like, I want to make, $10,000 this month, but you could play the best poker you've ever played and lose 10,000.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a smart thing to do to make financial goals in poker. It'll kind of come with the hard work. So you could say, I'm going to put, 40 hours a week. That would be a better goal to then sustain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. It's funny, we just did an episode with the team on Gen X. Now, what I know about you is you are close to your dad. And what I mean by that is that you've seen some of the good things Gen X can bring. You have them. Like, you work hard with your hands. You put in the hours. You have the grit, right? Because a lot of your generation, our team member described it, that it's a fine line between finding a better way to do something and laziness. Because
That's so true.
right?
That's very true.
They the way she put it was, you know, I'm just trying to find a better way. If I can DoorDash and that's a better way to get what I need,
Right.
which is great, but there's a fine line. As she said, well, sometimes it can create laziness in some of that.
For sure.
Right. So as you're finding your balance, what I see for you is using your platform, keeping it real. That's a whole segment we talk about on Thursdays, keeping it real, but also the inspiration to show people that you can do it the right way, that it's not gambling. So
Sure.
the reason I say, yes, you're taking a gamble to a certain degree because you're putting money, but it's also no different than taking money into a college education, no different than taking money into getting a trade school.
Sure.
You know, so
I 100% agree.
yeah, so you're putting money into your trade school, and that I feel that you are building the success of foundation because you're going to use the leverage that you don't have a huge overhead at this season of your life. You're still young and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Put some money away. And then ultimately you're investing into yourself. But you're also, like you said, you're not setting goals just to set them. You're really being calculated at a young age, which I think is awesome. And that's what I want our guests to hear, our people that go like, man, he's laying the foundation.
Right.
And then when you keep building on that, I think that's where the success will grow. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And I think for you, like, let's say, give me a story of anything in the last 18 months, whether it's on your last, this is the day of a 19-year-old, anyone reach out to you or a story that you feel like inspired somebody or something that stuck out to you, like, I'm making a difference in a good way for this world?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I get a lot of people reaching out to me saying, hey, you know, I'm 18 or 19 or 20 and I'm trying to play poker. And they ask me for advice, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, why are you asking me for advice? Like, it's crazy that it's come to that point. But that a lot of times it's a very eye-opening thing. But I actually met someone in Florida. I was playing a 5-10, 25 cash game. And this kid sits next to me. He's 19 years old. And he says, hey, man, you're the reason I started playing poker.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, that's
Wow,
crazy.
that's
So he
awesome.
recognized me, and I was apparently the reason he started playing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was kind of an eye-opening moment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, you know, I'm doing all these posts, and I'm actually like, you know, helping people grow the game and find a love for the game.
Well, and that's what I love is that you love the game. You love the whole part of it. And I think that's what I want to convey to people, whether it's cheerleading, playing soccer, becoming academically, whatever it is that people want. The whole point of this show is to build the foundation, build the grit, and build off that. And I think for you, honestly, G-Man, what I see for you, I see your platform much bigger than you probably even see it for yourself. I really do. I think here's what I see. 2 years ago, you're facilitating grown men, right? I'm a grown man. You were running things properly. You had cameras going. You had things motion. You kept a great demeanor, right? So you kept calm. And I'm just telling you, you've never heard me say these things to you.
Yeah.
So I want to say them to you. You also come from a large entertainment family. You know, so you've seen some of the craziness of that backstage. And so you're not shy. Your brother and you, I know he's been in a couple movies and a couple things that you guys have.
We've done some projects
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah. So I feel that for you, I see books, I see series, I see a lot of things that you're going to put together because you're going to become what's called relatable to a whole other generation. So let's just use your generation to start with that can go at this and not for the reasons that they might at first, which is, I just want to make money.
Right.
Then go gamble because that's gambling.
Yeah.
But if you're doing what you said, which if I take away from now, it's one, learn, educate, and hopefully when we do your post, you got to show them some of your screens,
Sure.
And how much work you put in to learning this craft.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. It's just like anything else.
Yes.
You got to put the hours in. There's not really any shortcut to being good at playing poker.
So what is a tip that you'll give people for free that's helped you, whether it's a book you want to shout or you don't need to name it if you don't want to, or someone, what's one of the biggest game changers that you like, whoa, that you're willing to share that doesn't hurt your game? Sure. And I'm taking notes, but I play against you. I'm going to play against him this Friday, guys. I might take it easy because it's his birthday, but I don't know.
I'll take it easy on you,
Yeah. Just so you know, our battles, he's up. He's a numbers guy. I'm going to say, I know he knows these numbers, so I'm going to say he's up 65 to 45 over me percentage, or you think
I
it's larger?
guess. I don't know. I mean, I feel like every time I come play with you guys, I don't do very well.
Yeah, but
and I think it's because everyone knows me. So
Yeah, I don't think that
I
that
feel
doesn't.
like,
I was just telling the group that doesn't come to me though.
I know.
think our battles. I have
Yeah.
one. I remember that one of them that I totally called you. Anyway, we're getting off. But to the question, what was something that you felt was like, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to help my game?
That's a great question. I mean, ever since I started like really loving poker, I've always been online looking for a course or looking for a program or anything to help me improve, which is so important. I think when it comes to like an eye-opening moment, it's pretty difficult to think of just one. But I remember when I invested in my first private coach. And I know it's like not really for everyone, but I remember I was doing everything myself, trying to like watch videos and do stuff. And it was good. It was working, but it wasn't working to some degree.
Right.
So I really needed that extra push of somebody else who's been there, who is a professional, who knows like the secrets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I remember the first time I worked with a coach, I was like, wow, like this is crazy what somebody could actually know about this game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's not for everyone, but if I was you, I would say, I mentioned this earlier, don't be in it for the money, be in it just for the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just find yourself becoming obsessed with everything, you will win.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I love that. Well, you don't become great at something without learning from others, right? That's wisdom.
Yeah.
And in this case, you got a coach, and that's the smartest thing. But I think that's what's going to open up for you, G-Man. I think that as you enjoy this journey, you're going to be able to help a lot of people. Look at your brother. Mm-hmm. He's right there in your shadows. Mm-hmm. And you guys have some good battles. We have some, so
I would also say just communicate with people, find communities, and just talking with people about the game is probably the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
Talk to people that are better than you and ask them questions, and they will tell you like and you stuff you won't really believe, and then you'll be like, oh, I'll try that next time, and it works, and you're like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So
I love that. All right, so now we're going to take all that. Now that we built that amazing platform, let's get into life. So with that being said, you said the mental part. So think of one of the worst days that you had. Mm-hmm. How did you feel, and how did you get past that? Because remember, you're still 19. Mm-hmm. So we're talking maybe the last 2 years, I'm just going to open it up more.
Sure.
So it means from 17 to 19, the worst experience in the game that you had.
Sure.
And also how you got past it, because obviously you're here and thriving. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's important for people to know, understand that, especially your generation, what does grit mean? What does that mean to you? Mm-hmm. Because over your 3 things you named, mental toughness. So what was that moment or something about it that you can share for them?
Yeah, for sure. So something that comes to mind was about a year ago. I took a month-long trip to Vancouver, Canada. So that was my first time in Canada. And I went up there to play online tournaments basically for the entire month, which is what I was doing at the time. So I had my screens, and I was playing about 8 to 10 tables at a time every single day for 8 to 10 hours. And I remember the trip started very well. And then the last 3 weeks of the trip, I didn't win a single day out of those 3 weeks.
Wow.
I remember being very frustrated. And it was like a very surreal moment that like, oh, okay. Like I'm feeling, at the time I was like, this is the best I've ever played.
Right.
But I lost for 3 weeks straight.
So to put things into context, because I want people to put whatever they're doing, whether it's poker or not, to put it into context for their lives is, here's something that you love, that you now feel you're a professional player. Mm-hmm. You go get into the proper environment, which over there, it's, mm-hmm. you're setting it all up. Mm-hmm. You're putting in 8 to 10 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And for out of 30 days, 20 of them were just horrendous.
Yeah, in a row too. So like I said, the trip started well. I was like feeling good. And then out of nowhere, I just started losing. And tournaments, are very like luck based. It gets down to short stack. It's different from a cash game.
Yeah.
But that was very, very difficult for me. But like I said, the best skills are a strong mental game, good money management. So obviously I wasn't risking money that I didn't have.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I've been through like smaller swings before, and I know that you just have to keep going pretty much. And then after that trip, I took a little break and got back into it, and it was all it was all good after that.
Well, think about it. We in baseball we call it slumps, right? I don't know what you call it in hockey. Maybe the same thing. I don't know.
Slump.
But look at what makes Tom Brady or some of these amazing quarterbacks. What they are is they just don't stay. We have a saying in our team: we just don't stay down.
Yeah,
right? We're aware. You come on, 20 days of getting your butt kicked, of getting everything. I mean, that takes a certain mental toughness.
Yeah.
So where do you attribute that grit? Because most 19-year-olds do not have that kind of mental discipline.
Yeah.
That, I mean, at what point are you chasing a rabbit? At what point are you being negligent? And at what point are you just saying, no, this is part of the course and I'm going to continue moving forward? Because any of them are right for different people. How did you feel for you as you keep going? How did you feel that was the right move?
To keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you took a little bit of a break, but then you went back on the horse.
Well, I mean, at this point, I've already invested so much time and money into myself, into being a better player. And obviously at this point, I still know that this is what I want to do. And I mean, I guess it just comes down to like a pure love for the game. Even after losing, I'm still, I strive to learn better. I find that when I lose, I really strive to keep learning and keep studying. So that definitely makes a difference. But I don't know. I wanted to keep playing. I wanted to get it back. Maybe it was motivation to get it back almost. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I think for you said it. You keep saying this, and I love it, is it's learning and having a love for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because to me, I love doing this. I love the things that I'm able to do through that, right? So I'm not doing it for the money. If money comes from it, yes, of course, there's certain goals, but first you start with the love, and that the love is for people. I love to be blessed and bless others, and you've gotten to know that a little bit about me and sharing what I have, and we're building a business out of that as well, because there's a lot of people that need proper guidance, that want to be real, and your word means something.
Yeah.
So I love all that. So now, what's something you can, if we're gonna, that you can give to somebody as your inspiration? So love for the game, passion, but what is something, and no matter what someone is doing in life, is a tip that you have, a life tip, whatever they're doing that you feel you apply to yourself?
So like an inspiration that I could give to somebody.
Yes.
Who's playing poker or anything.
Anything. Because to me, look at, I've had the privilege of being around a lot of champions. But to me, a true champion, not taken away from anybody's trade, is someone that can adjust that mindset to whatever they do. Right? To me, that's a champion.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean they're going to win at everything. It's not about winning. It's about having that attitude that I'm going to bring joy into what I do. I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to shake your hand if you beat me, but I'm going to give you a challenge.
For sure.
So what is that for you? What is someone that take away from you?
Yeah, I would say, I feel like ever since I was little, I've always been obsessed with like a bunch of different things. I've had a really easy time getting obsessed with something. I've been playing the piano since I was very young, and I'm obsessed with music. Like when I came to making videos, I was obsessed with that for a long time.
Right.
And you can ask my mom says it all the time. She's like, you just get hooked on something so quickly, and you put everything into that one thing.
Right.
And like I said, I just think poker fell into my lap at the right time. And that was the one thing that I just really got obsessed with. I said it earlier, but I think the best thing you can do if you want to be good at something is just to get obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I would say worked for me. And I also want to say, like for poker, I think one of the reasons that I was so successful is because I didn't have any expenses. I was still living at home. So a lot of times when people would lose this kind of money, it would affect their personal life. They couldn't pay their bills. They, they couldn't, go get food on the way home or whatever.
Right.
But for me, I don't have any expenses. I'm living at home. So I think that's also why I built a bit more mental toughness. The other thing I would say is I've always done everything by myself, pretty much. I've been working since I was like 12 as a video editor, and just always finding a way to get by. Yeah. Because I was homeschooled, and then I graduated high school when I was 15. So I was kind of like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, I have to figure something out. Yeah. So that's kind of why I got obsessed with the fact of not only making money, but just working hard at something and being very good at something. And poker just... That's what it was for me.
I love it, G-Man. Well, look, I think that you have the qualities, you have the grit, you have the right attitude, and I think that people could take away that you have that attitude. So at this point, I like the guest to have a moment where tables are turned. So you take a moment and you can ask me anything you want about anything. It could be poker, it could be life. And it just gives a moment. And then I have 2 more questions as we wrap up. But I think everything that you've been sharing is amazing. I've enjoyed listening to it. I've got to know you over the years, and I love that you're everything you said. And that's why I respect you a lot. So what's something you have for me?
For sure. I think I would like to just know a bit about like your backstory. And I know you said like you were a coach for a long time, a boxing coach, right?
Yeah.
And I would love to know what that was actually like and how you got brought up into that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if we've talked about it too much.
No. Even when you met me, everyone calls me coach. Well, thank you. So mixed martial arts is where I came from.
Okay.
So to this day, I still practice it. And, but I also, like you, I'm an innovator. So I knew that most martial artists have a day job and they open up a studio at night, and some make it a full time, but the majority, it's kind of like part time. And boxers, but everyone knows the word boxing, but the money's in fitness.
Okay.
So what I did is over the years, I combined that. So I opened up gyms that were specifically boxing classes. So that made people excited.
Very cool.
I created a fitness circuit that to this day you would compare it to Orange Theory, Drench.
Okay,
But I did that when no one knew what that was.
Okay.
But then boxing was mainstream, so everybody knew. But I also didn't go after the professional fighters.
Okay.
I went after you, your mom, your dad, people that want to just have a good time, get a workout. Because the best clients were women, because women are going to buy your gear, they're going to support, they're going to do all that.
Yeah.
And then the men would follow. And then we were able to expand. So I did a little reverse, and it worked. I was able to raise my kids.
Very cool.
I did end up getting professional fighters just because I built a good foundation, and I was able to go to China with our fighter. We fought Manny Pacquiao. I've been able to travel across the country. So coaching then became more of a philosophy for me to help empower people. But when I moved full speed into real estate a while back, I really couldn't do that anymore. I had to go full speed, which I did. But I did that same champion mindset. So humbly, I said I switched it and just applied it.
Yeah.
Now that we're good, always a lot of work, in my spare time, I created this with our amazing team. And then my daughter and her husband were partnering up. And then along with our DJ and our friends, we're building something amazing that's going to, I feel, change the world.
That's amazing.
It's a big statement, but I'll tell you why. Because no matter how much AI comes, no matter how much technology comes, nothing could take away human interaction.
100% agree.
So I want to use AI. I want to use all the things we need to.
Yeah, of course.
But bring it where we never lose sight of who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And I think so that excites me. And the real estate has given me an amazing tool. I have a great partner, a great team. My son's out there. So really, let's just say I'm in first place of my life, and I have a lot to lose if I don't keep my game strong.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Most of my life, I had to spend being third and fourth place, using that analogy, always striving to first. And I get there and I choked. I got there and I fell. I got there and I fall apart. And then my mental toughness came through some hard knocks. So I'd say 11 years now, 12, give or take. I reached a pretty good level, and I said, I will never go back. So from that moment, I have never looked back.
That's amazing.
And now, instead of me getting comfortable, because I'm going to be 55 in a couple weeks, most people at 55 are set and chilling, and to each their own. But to me, I'm about to light the world on fire.
That's amazing.
I love it. I'm going to outdo it. I'm going to outwork it. But the difference is I want people along. Like I want anyone that comes across our path, I want to be blessed, and I want to help the next generation not hear about me, not read a book I wrote. I want them to see this passion to help people become their best. So sorry, that was a long-winded answer, but
no, that was exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have that champion's mindset, like you said. And it's like, it's just like, you can feel it when you walk into the room, and that's why you are where you are. And I respect that so much.
Well, thank you, and that's that. I appreciate that, and that's why when we joke about poker, and I'll end with this story. And I have two last questions before I run out of time. They cut me off here. When I focus, and my family and I joke, they'd always joke with me, going, "Dad, don't lose the house." I mean, they know I don't play like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's always our ongoing joke when the kids were little, like, are you gonna go play? Because I was a big blackjack player back then. It was a little dangerous, but still.
Yeah.
But one of the things was, and you know this, when I focus, I mean, I played a couple of tournaments that I won. If I really focus, but a lot of times I think, and I'm just being honest and vulnerable, I'd give myself an out because that was the sabotaging of myself.
Okay.
You know, some people joke all the time when they can't handle things. They joke about a serious subject. That's their mechanism.
Sure.
Mine was allowing myself, and I justified losing. I wasn't trying that hard. Now I tried and I won.
Right.
And I denied that lie because I am good enough to win at whatever I put my mind to.
For sure.
Right. And if I lose because I got beat. Cool. I'm a good loser too. That won't change, but I want, and my son said something the other day. He goes, I am practicing and playing to win. I'm like, okay.
Of course.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. It's okay to win, and it's okay to be a champion. And you're going to be a champion more, and you're going to be able to bless people. And that's our whole philosophy. Be blessed and bless others. So to me, I'm like, okay, as long as I got health, let's go. Let's go change it. Let's go do tournaments. We had, 45 people in a tournament not too long ago.
Yeah.
One phone call. So I really believe the next couple of years are going to be absolutely fantastic for us. We're going to do a lot of good for this world and bless people along the way.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Love
so the last two questions I have for you as we wrap this up is, one, as you're going forward, as you are finding the grit, what is one of the inspirational things for you that you are going to live out? Like, and I say that because, look, for me, to give you content, for me, I don't want just people I call it the Al Bundy. Oh, Henry used to be. I don't want to be a used to. I want to be I am now.
Okay.
So my motivation every single day is my kids, but also my grandkids and anyone that comes across. So I want to stay healthy, get healthier. I want to be better. I want to do better so that I can give better. So that inspires me every single day to go after it.
Sure.
So what do you feel for you at 19 years old that is for you?
Yeah, I think in the, not the end, but the goal for me was just to be free pretty much and be able to travel and be able to work whenever, wherever I want. Like I said, I've always been a worker. I've always put my mind to something.
Yeah, 10 hours a day is not an easy joke. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, I can work at this very, very hard and get to a point to where I can be wherever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want.
Love it.
With the people I want to surround myself with.
There you go.
And that's obviously something that not a lot of people can have. So I want to definitely work towards that.
And you're going to get it, buddy.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, as we wrap up, I want to say thank you for sharing this journey, because I know we're going to look back in a couple of years and I'm going to be able to say, hey, go to episode so-and-so because that guy now is on the World Series of Poker doing it. And I know you're going to do a lot of good for the world, Gil, and you need to know that. You're going to. You know, you carry a room as well. And I think that's the beautiful part. And that's why we have a saying in our team is be blessed, take it in, now go do good with it. So that's what I want to encourage. So thank you for sharing with our guest. I can't wait to have you back down the road when we're like, dude, that was crazy. And then I'll do one last thing, guys, because poker, we had him and I go heads up, and there was a particular hand. I know, at your house, I think you had ace king.
When we were heads up?
Yeah, heads up one time, and I ended up getting like a runner. It was just a funny story, and you filmed it. We filmed it because it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I do have that. It was no analytics. I just felt I had that. I think it was a 4-5 or one of my famous
7-5.
7-5. See, he remembers, guys.
Yeah, I had ace king and it was king 5-5, and you flopped trips.
I flopped trips, and he even the other day played, guys. I like the mid-size range. It's a little trick I play. I like the mid-size numbers, suited, of course.
Oh yeah. yeah, always.
Well, guys, G-Man, thank you. Guys, thank you for joining in. You got to follow this guy. You'll have all his information. He does amazing vlogs. He lets you into his life. And like he said, it is interesting because most of you that don't know, it is a crazy life in a good way. It's no different than being a professional baseball player, and they're letting you into their practice and their defeat. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining in. God bless you. Till next time.
Thank you, Henry.